CNN Motorsports, the network that brings you more Busch racing than all other networks combined, presents live the Meridian Advantage 200 from the 1 mile oval at Nazareth, Pennsylvania. What a great day for racing here in eastern Pennsylvania. 82 sun-drenched degrees, low humidity, little bit of breeze just to keep the heat off, and this place is packed with race fans. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mike Joy. He's Buddy Baker. We're a little sleepy after last night's Winston, but I think we're going to see just as good a show here today because this racetrack is very hard to figure out.
I guarantee you the Busch Grand National guys really put on a great show, and what a wonderful racetrack for these types of cars. It's almost like a road course going in the corners. They hang the left front right on the ripple strips going through. Like he said, they don't know whether it's 5 or 6 corners, but I can tell you this, handling's going to be the key.
It is definitely a handling racetrack, and there were a few surprises in qualifying. Not so the story of the man on the pole. He's been there before, and the man who's always standing right with him is Glenn Jarrett.
Hey, you know, I got a great job. I get to talk to all these fast guys. Last night it was Nemechek set a new track record, and now Kenny Wallace has done the same thing. Really good incentive for him and the team. First pole in a couple of years for both of you, Kenny.
Well, you know, last year we had the year off in the Busch Grand National Series, so busy running Winston Cup, but it's nice to get the pole, you know, for the whole TIC team. Gil Martin's a great chassis man, and the car's been unloading really good all year long.
You really seem to have figured this place out.
This track here is tough now. I tell you, it's everything but right-hand corners, you know, downhill down the back straightaway, uphill through travel, under a bridge. The only thing it's missing is a right-hand corner.
Well, it sounds like he knows the way around anyway. Now let's go a little further back in the field to my colleague today, Ralph Sheen.
There's a few new faces to the front of our Busch grid here this afternoon in Nazareth. One of them is the Fiddle Faddle Chevy of Mike McLaughlin. Second row is where you'll find all Magic Shoes on the outside of that grid spot. That is the best Mike has ever qualified a Busch car on the Southern Tour. And alongside an unsponsored Thunderbird belonging to a gentleman out of the state of Washington. His name is Dirk Stevens. Now, Dirk, no sponsorship, no big factory backing. What equalized the field? How'd you get up front?
Well, you know, this track here is kind of unique to a racetrack back home, Tri-Cities, that we ran out there for many years. And we got around here with a good qualifying effort, and hopefully we'll be up front all day long and run home with a good showing. We did require a little bit of sponsorship. We got Grease Lighting coming on board for Charlotte for 8 races, and we're looking forward to carrying their colors.
Mike, I'd hate to see Tri-Cities because Dirk Stevens has never been to Nazareth before, and he figured this place out pretty quickly.
Ralphie's a good race driver. Had a great run going at Richmond before a spin cost him a top finish. You look around this racetrack, it is really unique. There are a lot of corners, and there's some disagreement as to just how many there are. So we asked.
I say 6. A lot of people say 5, but I count 6. I'm not sure. All I know is the front stretch got a turn in it. I think there's about 6.
Too many. Everyone except a right-hand corner. I told them, I said, you go downhill, uphill, under a bridge. It's, I don't know, man, there's all kinds of corners. I do know which one's coming up next, and I get ready for it.
I counted 46 the first time out, and then there was 53 the second time. Now, this is every time I turn the wheel, right?
I guess it's probably maybe I want to say a 6th turn, but right now, I'm a little unfamiliar with the place, and it seems like a doggone road course. It seems like 12 turns to me, but I'll get used to it. You know, I'll get better as the race goes on.
I think officially there are 5 corners here, but we're going to go count them while we take this pause from Nazareth. We'll be right back live on CNN. Welcome back to Nazareth, Pennsylvania. What a great day to have an auto race here, buddy. It seems like it'd be a nice day for the beach. Just about to fire engines here at Nazareth for the Meridian Advantage 200. Look at Mike McLaughlin's car. David Green up on the outside of the front row. And they're running and ready to roll.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Meridian Advantage 200 on TNN is brought to you by Purolator. Legends live on Purolator. By Split Fire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more if you use it. And by Stanley. Since 1843, Stanley has been helping people do things right.
Here's the starting grid for today's Meridian Advantage 200, brought to you by Sears Die Hard. On the pole, Kenny Wallace, 7th career pole, first of the season, and David Green on the front row looking for his 3rd career win. Dirk Stevens, his best starting spot ever, and the former modified champ, Mike McLaughlin. Row 3, Jason Keller, 5th top 10 qualifying effort, and Mike Wallace, who raced at Charlotte last night. Chad Little makes his first Nazareth start, and Jim Bound finished 5th at Bristol. Ricky Craven has 2 top 10 finishes here, and Hermie Sadler 2nd in the points. Doug Hevron, the former modified racer from New York, has a lot of fans here. And Bobby Dotter, who was 2nd at New Hampshire this year. Johnny Benson Jr., leading rookie contender in row 7 with Elton Sawyer, who finished 4th at Richmond. Randy LaJoy, rookie of the year in '83, and Tim Fedewa, who finished 7th here last year. Robert Presley is the only former winner in the field. He won it last year. Tracy Leslie makes his 4th start here. Tommy Houston has a Busch record 190 top 10 finishes. Ronald Cooper makes his 3rd start here. Larry Pearson, 2-time champ of the division, and Dennis Setzer, top rookie 4 times this season. Kelly Moore is the highest qualified Busch Grand National North driver. And Dave Resendiz, who was 2nd here in 1990. In row 13, Stevie Reeves, the USAC champ from Speedway, Indiana, and Kevin LePage, the rookie from Vermont. Jeff Neal makes his 2nd Busch Series start, and Andy Santerre, last year's Rookie of the Year on the Busch North Series. Rodney Combs, the veteran from West Virginia, and Dale Williams, the 55-year-old Southwest Tour Rookie of the Year. Mike Stepanek, the former national modified champion, and Brian Ross, who's won a lot of modified tour races. In row 17, Dale Shaw has 7 Busch North wins. Randy Porter, the rookie from South Carolina. Tom Bowles, runner-up for Busch North Rookie of the Year last year. He's from Connecticut. And Martin Truex from Virginia. Tom Rosati, former Oxford 250 winner. He's from Massachusetts. And Robbie Crouch from Tampa, Florida, 2-time Busch North champ. Jeff Berry from Norwich, Connecticut. And Ken Wallace, no relation to the Racing Brothers, is from Pennsylvania. We'll be back with the green flag after this. One lap and we'll go green. We'll be riding along with Randy LaJoy in the Pina Chevrolet of Dick Moroso. There is the race cam over his shoulder, mounted in the middle of the car. And the doggy out the window cam sits right there. Looks back at the field from the right doorpost, and there's bumper cam, which last night was thumper cam during the running of the Winston Select. Also, Bobby Dodd of the DeWalt Tools Chevrolet. There's Bobby. And here's the race cam inside of his car. That's the radio harness wire that you see coming down from the roof. And there's that race cam left side of your screen as you look up at Bobby from the transmission tunnel. And a bumper cam as well. We expect those will get a workout today.
I guarantee you on that. These racetracks that are flat like this, if you have position on a guy, he better give way or you're right into the wall, both of you.
It's beach weather here in Pennsylvania. There are a lot of sunburns to be out there this afternoon.
You know, it's quite a bit warmer than it was in Charlotte yesterday.
Up 12 degrees.
Uh-huh.
Pace car is in. Pontiac Firebird hits pit road. And Kenny Wallace. All the Wallaces are here. Mike is in the race. He ran last night at Charlotte. Kenny's in the race, and Rusty's here spotting. So they're under green. And it's Kenny Wallace in the Phil Martossi Ford that takes them down toward turn 2. Under the Goodyear Bridge. Clean start all the way through the field. Wallace, David Green, Dirk Stevens in 3rd.
Mike, you see the inside there has ripple strips, just like a road course. And I heard a guy say if he was pushing real bad, he could run over and loosen the chassis up. So when the cars go through this corner, the ones you see putting the left front down there, they have a push in the car. They will adjust it as they go along today.
First time this year, Kenny Wallace has led on a track 1 mile or larger. That's Doug Hevron in the Food Country USA 75 moving up. Elton Sawyer tries it underneath Bobby Dotter. Not that time.
I'm getting my first look at this racetrack all the way around. I tell you what, it's quite a nice facility here. We've seen Rusty Wallace here just a while ago. We're going to try to get him in here later on. Maybe not, though. He's fighting for his brothers.
He'll be a little busy. With Bobby Dotter chasing the Ford Credit Ford, the Aiken Sutton car of Elton Sawyer. There's a look through turn 2 from behind Bobby Dotter's cam up front. Kenny Wallace and David Green running 1-2. David Green third in the points. Wallace is the leader.
Mike, this car of Wallace is leading the race here. He's run well all year long. He's just been bit by a little bit of bad luck. That car dominates most of the races we show on TV.
The white car, the Lysol Chevy, Jim Bounds, started 8th. He just took over 3rd place. That's a quick run to the front for Bounds.
Yeah, you can see these cars wobbling a little bit. This racetrack's really hard to get around. You have to have the car perfect to get through these corners fast.
4th is Dirk Stevens. 5th, Mike McLaughlin. 6th is Jason Keller in 57. Hermie Sadler, the number 2-point man, is 7th. And Ricky Craven is 8th with Doug Hebron 9th.
Boy, Ricky Craven's car looks really strong. He's moving up on the front pack there. You see him coming in the frame.
There's Craven. That's blue number 2. And let's look a little further back. There's Elton Sawyer. Then comes Chad Little, whose car owner got some good news. Mark Rippon owns Chad Little's car, the Bayer car, just in front of Dodder. And Mark Rippon got picked up by the Cleveland Browns. So he'll have a little football money to buy a few more tires for that car.
I guarantee you can tell by the shots here that we have a capacity crowd here also. These people really, it took us an hour and a half to get in the racetrack this morning. I mean, the people show up for this race because they know it's going to be exciting.
And it's a doubleheader with the NASCAR Modifieds. They'll run later today, and you'll see that in June here on CNN. The Featherlight 100, 150 rather. Here's Bobby Dodder to the inside of Chad Little.
Yeah, and just behind them, I see the 20 car starting to get a little antsy there. He made it 3 wide down the back straightaway just a second ago. Randy LaJoy is never happy if he's not leading the race, so you can look for good things out of him later on in the day.
Number 4 point man LaJoy in car 20, the Fina Chevrolet. And that's Jason Keller. Oh, excuse me, that is Elton Sawyer. Now here's Tracy Leslie getting underneath Chad Little, and here comes LaJoy in the blue car.
He will make it 3 deep, too.
They said in the drivers' meeting this morning, they said, you all saw the Winston Select last night. Let's not have a race like that, Ray Hill told them.
No, and I also heard him say, thank goodness for point standings where people use a little judgment when it's time to go. You see Chad Little's car is really accelerating well into the, he's doing well, but I believe Randy's got a little bit faster car, but positions everything. You have to have your car exactly up beside of him. You can't just take a chance that he knows you're there, because you can cut him off real easy here.
Tim Fedewa moving up on Bobby Dodder. Big trouble out of turn 1.
Whoa, man.
As Stevie Reeves pounds into Kelly Moore. And for the second race in a row, Moore in 47, the Jordan Lumber car, is involved in a big accident early. He got in a big tangle at New Hampshire. There's a 3rd car involved, just making the turnaround, and I believe that was Mike Stefanik, car number 14. Stevie Reeves.
That was just out of turn 1 there where the cars are trying to sweep out toward the wall. Now, I bet when we see it on the replay that they kind of got together coming out of that corner.
Now there is the exit of turn number 1 where Reeves' car is parked, former USAC midget champ. Mike Stefanik also involved. And we'll show you the aftermath here. Rodney Combs gets by. Ooh.
Now, you wonder why these cars didn't just avoid that car, but you see all the smoke, you can't see a thing when those cars start sideways like that and all 4 tires light up with that gray smoke. You cannot see a thing, and he did not see the 47 car when he plowed into him.
They'll put the wrecker on Stevie Reeves and haul him back to the garage, and the full moon's not even out here in Pennsylvania. Nazareth, Pennsylvania. There's your top 5 to where they're running. Let me correct on the cars involved in the incident as we look back through 10th place here. Had Mike Stefanik spinning to miss that accident. He was not involved. It was the similarly painted number 40 of Ken Wallace, who spun down to the inside, as did 51, Andy Santerre, the Busch North Rookie of the Year. Now here from the blimp angle, there is Wallace, the black and white car, and the black car of Santerre spinning to miss the collision between Kelly Moore and Stevie Reeves. And that 40 car is Dale Williams, not Ken Wallace. The 04 is Ken Wallace. So Dale Williams was the car that went around.
You know, we just heard that Hermie Sadler is having a lot of problems with his braking system. This is not a racetrack that you want to have brake problems on.
No.
No.
Is there one?
Yeah, you see them right there. It looks like they're working on the master cylinder.
Let's find out. Glenn?
Well, that's exactly right, buddy. They're working with the master cylinder now. Crew Chief Bobby King has taken some brake fluid out there to see if maybe that's the problem. They're hoping he just got them hot, maybe boiled the fluid out of the thing for a little while, but I think it's a little more serious than that. As soon as Bobby gets back over here, we'll try to get a word with him.
They're going to go racing in one lap. Kenny Wallace, David Green, Jim Bound up to third, Dirk Stevens fourth, Mike McLaughlin fifth, sixth, Jason Keller, seventh is Ricky Craven, eighth, Doug Hevron, ninth, Elton Sawyer, and 10th, Bobby Daughter. And once again, Kelly Moore and Stevie Reeves were the two cars involved in the collision. Dale Williams in number 40 and Andy Santerre in 51 were the two cars that spun down to the inside to miss them. There is Stevie Reeves' car. Here's Ralph.
Mike, you can see the whole front end of the car is heavily damaged. The crew is taking a look at it. They already have jack stands and had their gear out and see if they can get it fixed. Stevie is in the infield care center just getting it checked over. We'll talk to him as soon as we get a chance.
I think they're going to straighten that one out just to load it on the truck, buddy.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Looks like the radiator's back on the fan there. It's pretty bad.
Drivers weaving back and forth to clean the tires of debris and getting set for a restart. You're inside Randy LaJoie's car with Chad Little just ahead. Kenny Wallace leads the field as the pace car comes in off turn 5. Yes, 5 on this 1 mile oval.
You know, you see David Green sitting there in second place. He's ready for a Winston Cup ride. He has the patience and has the ability. Look at LaJoie.
Did you say patience? You picked the wrong time to say patience.
I didn't say anything about Randy LaJoie. He has very little patience. He wants to get up front.
David Green has a look low on Kenny Wallace, but not this time. Jim Bound may be the fastest car on the racetrack. He moved from 8th to 3rd in the opening lap.
Well, as I said, he had a lot of patience. He goes into the lead. That's what I know about this stuff right now.
David Green puts Bobby Labonte's Slim Jim Chevy up front. Number 3-point man, 88 points out of the lead, which is held right now by Kenny Wallace. David Green, the outside pole sitter. 3 of the last 5 winners of this race have started on the outside pole.
I tell you, Chuck Bound, yeah, I knew I was going to do that.
Now, Chuck, let's talk about Chuck. Chuck is okay after that wild flip and ride down at Charlotte last night. A lot of folks here at Nazareth were asking his brother Jim about him, and he said it looked like a bad wreck, but he is okay.
Well, I tell you what, that was a scary wreck. I was glad to see him get out of that race car in good shape.
Stevie Reeves just had a scary one at turn 1. Ralph is with him.
Stevie, give me a driver's perspective of what happened.
Well, the 47 car got turned around in front, and I got on the brakes to slow down and got tapped from behind and spun right there. It was just a racing incident that, you know, unfortunately that happens. I just hate to see it happen to the Clabbergo car because we were running good this weekend, and we're going to try and get it fixed and get back in this.
Stevie Reeves, disappointed, but ready to get back out there and chase the Busch point. One of the Rookie of the Year candidates. Ricky Craven moves underneath Jason Keller in the Budget Gourmet Chevy and puts the DuPont colors up a spot. They've got a lot of corporate people here, not too far from Wilmington, Delaware.
Yeah, that racetrack looks like it's all cambered. We're so used to looking at the high banks. But I tell you what, when you're really trying to set a car up, a place like this is a challenge to the crew and the driver and everything else. And these guys have done a great job of setting these cars up. You don't see a lot of sliding and knocking around. They're really making smooth passes. These guys are really good race car drivers.
No question about that. The marathon man in the field today is Mike Wallace. He ran in the Winston Open last night at Charlotte and is here today in Barry Owens' FTP brake car.
Yeah, he said he hit the wall 5 times, but he never made any contact.
Okay. Randy LaJoie still chasing Chad Little as you ride along. What's that feel like when the back end of that car starts to dance like that at that speed?
Well, when you look in the mirror and see that car swing over to the inside, you wonder how close he is up when you start to go in, because the fast way through these corners is right on the bottom and let the car sweep out. So you got to keep your eye on the mirror a little bit. You got to run the mirror and also look where you're going at the same time. So it's a very tricky racetrack if you Take a car's up the side of you, you're not sure, and you pull over and you touch, you could take your arm and just push the car around if you were up beside a guy. That's how light they are going through these corners.
That close to the edge of control. There's that battle. Chad Little and Randy LaJoie.
I believe Randy's a little bit quicker, but he just can't get that position. Now, as I say that, he gets up the side of him, and you'll see him just motor on because he's been holding back for a while.
There's only one line here, and it's the inside line.
Yeah, and, you know, Randy LaJoie has run a million racetracks just like this. They're the flat corners. Up north, they don't bank the racetracks as much as we do down south.
Chad Little with a hand in the air and a signal to Robert Presley behind him. And you're riding with Bobby Dotter. Kelly Moore back in the pits dragging some sheet metal from that early incident.
Well, it looked like Dotter was kind of on a Sunday drive there. He was just riding along there. The hands were real still. That's a sign that the car is working very well.
Jason Keller's car is not. That 57's backing up a bit in the field as Tracy Leslie puts the Detroit gasket car underneath and picks up a spot. You're riding with Bobby Dotter. That blip in the sky there is the Gulf blimp.
Mm-hmm. I was reading some stuff about that just a little while. That thing is 7 stories high. That's a pretty nice sized blimp up there.
I'd say. Bigger than Bill Cannell. Boy, did he put on a show last night at Charlotte.
We could hear him through the top of the building. He was announcing the race on the PA at Charlotte Motor Speedway last night, and you could hear him through the roof of the building. I tell you what, if I had a voice like that, I wouldn't need this microphone.
Robert Presley in 99 and Ronald Cooper in the Johnny Cotton number 56, having at it there. And up front, David Green. Kenny Wallace led about 2 laps on the restart, and David Green moved underneath him to the front. His car is owned by Bobby Labonte, and we asked David about how he likes working with the Labonte family.
It starts with those guys. You know, they don't say go and do this because this is what Bobby did. They look at the way I do things, instructions from that. You know, and Bob Sr.'s always been the one that said, hey, you know, we have to do what makes it feel best for David Green. So, you know, those guys are the strong suits in my court, and I love it. I couldn't ask for a better deal.
David Green leads Kenny Wallace, Jim Bound, Dirk Stevens, and Mike McLaughlin. That's your front 5. Look at this racetrack. Turn 1 is on the right lower part of your screen. Then it goes to 2 and 3, and then 4 and 5. It's a very unique racetrack. Right now, David Green is the man that is mastering it. Let's check with Ralph in his pit.
Charlie Smith is his crew chief. Charlie, how hard are you telling him to push it right now?
Not hard at all, Ralph. He says the car feels real good, and we don't want to use up the tires too early. He's kind of just pacing it, trying to race the racetrack and not worry about using the car up.
One thing about David Green, he's got a lot of experience on both sides of pit wall.
He does that, you know. He was driving for a while, and I guess got moved out of a ride, and he started crew chiefing for Bobby Labonte, and he crew chiefed for a year, and they put him in the car when Bobby moved up to Winston Cup, and he has done one whale of a job, but he does know the chassis, and that's the key thing for a driver anymore. He's got to be able to put some play into how the car handles and know what he's talking about when he tells them.
That's true. They just lapped past Andy Santerre, the Rookie of the Year in the Busch North Circuit, who's driving for Mike and Harry Gricci. The H&H Motorsports car today. Wheels Discount Auto Supply. And Robbie Crouch has dropped off the pace. He's in the Don Ling Auto Palace Pontiac. The Tampa Tornado, they called Robbie Crouch. Won some championships up north, but had a tough time with it today. David Green, Kenny Wallace, and Jim Bound are the front 3, and they're pretty tied tightly together.
Jim Bound not letting him go anywhere. He's sitting right on Wallace's back bumper there. I tell you, he may have as fast a car as the lead car, but he just cannot get by Wallace at this moment.
Nor, buddy, is there really any pressure to?
No, not right now. Right now, they're probably talking to the crew chief. If we come in, if we have a yellow, we need to do this, we need to do that. And as long as you keep them in sight, you got a chance to win when it comes down to the end.
Long way to go here. And they talked about conserving tires in David Green's pit. I believe the rule today is 4 tires total under caution for the race. One set. You can change all you want under green, but you're only allowed 1 set under caution. So you have to be a little conservative in the early going here.
Well, when we say conservative, what you don't want to do is drive down in the corner and smoke the tires and maybe get a blister on one of the tires or something, because you don't have the option to change that many times during the race.
Mike Wallace in the very own number 9 flew up here last night from Charlotte after running in the Winston Open.
We probably followed them up here. I tell you what, it was early this morning when we got here.
We had such a headwind coming up here. I think we flew backwards to Nashville trying to go forwards to Pennsylvania.
Had to be.
Tommy Houston on the move. Right there with Mike Wallace and Dave Rezendes in the Lipton Teapot right behind.
Yep,
and Kevin LePage.
Yeah, and the Teddy Bear car is on the hump again. He's running really well.
There's Rezendes and LePage. Two Northerners who took different routes to the Busch Series. Rezendes came through the Modifieds and LePage through the American Canadian Tour, or ACT, late model cars, similar to the Busch machine.
Well, LePage is trying everything. He went to the outside to try to go by, and they got over in front of him there. He swung to the inside. He's just going to have to be patient right now, because it'll all come to him. These racing cars will give up as they go.
Back at the front of the field, David Green, Kenny Wallace, Jim Bound, and Dirk Stevens is right there. Now, there's a fella came out of the West Coast, had a super run at Richmond. Then they went to Martinsville, lost their only motor in qualifying, did a bit of regrouping, but boy, here's this racetrack. Dirk Stevens is right in the hunt. I think at the end of the day, somebody will wish they had sponsored that number 15 car.
Yeah, he needs a sponsor. I tell you, he's up there anytime he gets in the race. He's a tough thing to deal with.
Running fourth with Mike McLaughlin, the Fiddle Paddle High Tool Chevy, in fifth. Green's starting to get a little advantage here, buddy.
Yeah, well, they're going through traffic right now. If you catch a break, you can go right on by.
Hermie Sadler, the Virginia's for Lovers Chevy, gives up a spot to Tommy Houston, and he's about to lose one to Dave Rezendes. Glenn, how's Hermie's car?
Well, Mike, he's still experiencing brake problems. We don't know what the problem is yet. They just didn't have enough time to look at the thing and try to diagnose it. He ran pretty well there on the restart, but after he got the brakes hot, after about 5-10 laps, it really went to pot on him, and he's falling back over a lap down now. He's really got a problem.
63 points behind Kenny Wallace. Now he's way off the pace. Jason Keller rolls past. He's had some tough luck of late.
Mike, you see how wide he's running on the racetrack. That's to give everybody room on the inside, because he is having trouble. He's a nice young man. He's not creating any problems to anybody. He moved out on the wide side of the racetrack and let him go on the inside.
No, he's one of the Pointer sisters right now. He's just rolling around to pile up some points and get what he can get.
Yeah, you got it.
David Green.
Oh, you tear me up.
It took a second, didn't it?
We try not to be cute, folks, but I tell you, every once in a while, he pulls one out of the bag. I cannot help but laugh.
Had a few left over from last night, but not too many. That's Ken Wallace in the TGI Friday 04, and number 40 is Dale Williams, 55-year-old Rookie of the Year last year, and he is in the way of David Green.
I'd say in the way. That was almost a wreck. It just didn't happen.
That's the Keystone car for Williams.
He's making himself in the way pretty good there.
Not the way to get on TV. Now, let's see. You're 53. Could you imagine, no, seriously, could you imagine in 2 years picking up a professional sport and say, well, I'm going to go run for Rookie of the Year?
I talked to this guy earlier today, and I tell you what, he's having a blast, and I'm sure he didn't know the guys were back here. Now he sees them, he's out of the way and letting them go by. But when you look in that mirror, they all look the same until that flagman lets you know they're there.
Yep, he's a little too slow down the front straightaway. It says free agent on the side of his car, or sponsor wanted is another way to put that. And Dale Williams is now just barely coasting out of turn number one.
Me.
And he's going to try to get that car down off the racetrack.
Ronald Cooper, I don't know how he missed him, but he turned the car absolutely sideways, went by him on the inside, and got the car back straight. I would have wrecked most likely on that deal.
Bobby Dotter with his hand in the air as the caution flag is waving. And there is Dale Williams. Something went wrong with that car. Meanwhile, Hermie Sadler has come to pit road, and they're trying to roll him, I would guess, back behind the wall to do some further work on his Chevrolet. But Williams' car, as he moved out of the way of the leaders, just appeared to either not take a gear or stop running.
I tell you one thing, he's lucky he didn't get some help across the top of that wall when he slowed up there.
Second caution of the day, and it comes out for Dale Williams. We'll be right back to Nazareth, Pennsylvania, live on TNN. We've had a few pit stops under the caution as you watch from the Gulf Oil blimp. Captain Alan Judd and Peter Buckley are piloting the blimp, and you can see it really is bigger than most folks we know. You stood it on end, but he's right, 7 stories high.
See?
Right. I saw. David Green pitted for fuel. Under that caution, it gives the lead back to Kenny Wallace. Jim Bound moves up to second on the exchange.
Well, like Ricky Craven was having a little problem there on his pit stop also.
Dale Shaw is in, and there's a chassis adjustment. Round and a half coming out of Robbie Crouch, the Donling Auto Palace Pontiac. Dale Williams has gotten running again, and there is the Jordan Lumber car of Kelly Moore, carrying some Pennzoil sponsorship there.
That'd really look bad if we hadn't been in Charlotte last night. That was the car that won the race that looked like that last night. I never seen anything like that.
I wonder why we don't have a duct tape sponsor.
Good question. Half of these cars would fall apart if it wasn't for the good old duct tape.
That's right. Here's your top 5, the way they're running under caution. David Green was leading this race at the time of the second caution. Came in for a splash of gas and gave it up. You're riding with a 5th place car, Randy LaJoy. Mike Wallace just behind. 1 to go. Let's check in Ricky Craven's pit. Here's Glenn.
Well, standing with crew chief John Monson. And John, Ricky's car seemed to be running pretty well, but you made an adjustment. What did you do?
Well, we're trying to prepare for the end of the race. The car's a little tight, and it was getting tighter. So we just made a little adjustment on it, put some fuel in it. There's typically a long section of green here, and we don't want to get caught without fuel, so it might be for the best.
Well, now, you have had an amazing record here at this racetrack.
Well, excuse me just a second.
He's talking to the driver right now. Doesn't have time to talk to us. We'll get back to him. Here he is.
Well, I've worked on a couple of winning cars here. Every year I've been in on a position top 5 car and won twice. It's my favorite racetrack, and I expect to do well again here today. I really hope we can win again.
Well, if there's anything that he can do about it, they will. He knows this racetrack better than anybody, probably better than the drivers.
That's probably true, Glenn. John from Granby, Connecticut. Worked on a lot of top modified teams as well as some of the Busch teams. Worked for Alan Kulwicki, and he said, talking about last night's race, Alan never brought his best car to the Winston.
No, I don't think so, but I tell you what, it was nice to see Jeff Bodine get the win last night. They really need it. They've been dead all year long with bad luck.
Yep. We're back under green. Kenny Wallace leads Jim Bound to turn 2 and 3. Elton Sawyer in 3rd. And Tim Fedewa right there. Randy LaJoy is going to try it underneath Fedewa for 4th place.
I think Randy LaJoy's passed more cars on the inside going through that one corner than any race car here today.
He's got that figured out.
Yeah.
He picks up a spot like that every restart, it seems. Mike Wallace had a look under Fedewa, couldn't complete the pass. Jim Bound is the leader. Took it away from Kenny Wallace. First time that Jim has led today.
See Elton Sawyer there. He's running along in 3rd place. He's doing a very good job today, but Randy LaJoy is moving in on him, and I tell you, he better get on the go because this kid don't wait on too many people.
I think Jim Bound's going to check out.
I think he will, too. I thought he was the fastest car for a long time, and now he's got clear racetrack, and the rest of them are racing like crazy behind him. I'll just check right on out of here.
Bound started 8th, quickly worked his way up to 3rd, and this is the first time that Jim Bound has ever led a Busch Series race.
Boy, that's hard to believe. He runs so well every week, but if you say so, Mike, I know it's so.
Well, remember, if he's from the Pacific Northwest, Portland, Oregon, so like Dirk Stevens, he would have run at Tri-Cities and found this track pretty similar.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, the Winston West runs a lot of racetracks that have flat corners, and you're talking about Dirk Stevens a while ago. If you look at the corners, as you get out of the, once you get in the corners and start out toward the straightaway, it's a lot like Richmond. You have to have that type of race car.
2nd place battle, Kenny Wallace now has his hands full with Elton Sawyer. Saw David Green moving up in the pack there. Elton's just been able to dive under, and he's down on the yellow ripple strip there as he gets underneath Kenny, and that opens the door for LaJoy.
Maybe. Yes, it did, as a matter of fact.
LaJoy's like the Fuller Brush man. He gets a foot in the door.
Well, that's what you wait on a racetrack like that, is just get somebody a little out of position and make a move. We pick pretty good camera cars, too, if you ever notice. We always get with somebody that makes it pretty interesting during the day.
Tim Fedewa now moving up on LaJoy and Mike Wallace. Kevin LePage got a stop-and-go penalty for passing a car on the restart. The teddy bear got spanked.
No, you didn't say that, did you?
Not me. Stevie Reeves is back in the race, but running kind of slowly. One car, though, that's gone behind the wall is second-place point man Hermie Sadler. Here's Glenn.
Are they able to fix the problem?
Yeah, I think we had some kind of a busted brake line or something in the rear of the car, and now there's not the way you can race without brakes, so we got to get it together and do the best we can.
Well, I'm going to let him go. They want him to go back out on the racetrack.
Hermie's going to limp it around and try to pick up some points here.
You know, Mike, Kenny Wallace must be having some handling problems because he's steadily moving backwards right now. At one time, he looked like a dominant car, but he must be pushing or something because he's losing a little bit of time in the corner.
Watch Tim Fido move up under the TIC Financial Ford.
Was that a brother sandwich there? Hello?
Yeah, Fido is the non-Wallace in this group. And he's not even from St. Louis. He's a total outcast in that threesome. Well, of course, he is from the Midwest. He's from Michigan.
Now, who was the brother spotting for us? You see him just move over and let him go. He's experiencing some kind of handling problems. He just moved to the outside of the racetrack and let his brother go by there.
I'm not sure who Rusty's spotting for.
I bet he's doing it for Kenny.
Yeah, he was up here with a headset on.
Yeah.
After taking a pretty wild ride himself last night in the Winston. Now you see Kenny has drifted back behind both those cars as they move on. Tim Fidoa moving ahead of the Wallaces now. Let's go back up front.
Okay, they seem to be reeling in Jim Bound just a little bit. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Doug Hevron is involved with Tom Rosati in the Tic Tac car and Robert Presley.
Robert Presley's coming up pit road there trying to get turned around.
Go Robert.
Does a little spin.
And Doug Hevron climbed out of his car. Third yellow of the day. Comes out at lap 56 for the former super modified champion at Oswego, New York. There you saw Dennis Setzer go by. He has come from 22nd to 8th place in the Dan Welch Alliance Tractor Trailer Training Center car.
Uh-oh.
Hevron walking
along. Coming across. Yeah.
He's trying to get back across the racetrack.
Usually when I see a helmet in a racetrack like that, and a driver walking looking at cars, that makes it a little... He don't look like he's real happy here.
Tough incident for Doug Hevron. And turn one has been Calamity Corner. I think he's going to go back across and get his helmet.
Wonder what kind of style points he got on that one. No, I'm just kidding, folks. Don't write me all bad stuff.
Nope. Not going to ask Mark Rippon to judge that toss either. Tough break for Hevron. He is out of the race. We are 57 laps complete. We'll be right back. We're back live in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, and we are under caution. There have been some pit stops. Andy Santerre is in, and they're underneath Johnny Benson's car. Something wrong in either the drive line or the braking system on that car. Let's try to show you what happened here to Doug Hevron. He'll be the blue car and is already around as we see him up and into the fence. Now there's Robert Presley at the bottom of the screen spinning to miss him. And then Tom Rosati will come in on the high side. Cutting sharply left there is the 7 of Dale Shaw, and Rosati has already spun.
Well, you see Presley spinning there. What he was doing was just trying to miss everybody. Look at this.
NASCAR would like to see Doug Hevron after the race. That's why. A little frustrated.
Yeah.
Apparently he and Ronald Cooper got together. Now there's Johnny Benson's car. Let's go to Ralph.
Mike, they broke the yoke on the quick change. Big Rodney and the rest of the crew all underneath the car trying to get fixed as quick as they can to get Johnny back out.
Johnny's the leading contender for Rookie of the Year right now in the Busch Series. But he's lost several laps already in the pits. Came into the pits under this caution, so he's only about 2 or 3 laps down at the moment. Buddy, that's tough. When you climb out of a car that you've had a good chance to run well in and the thing is wadded up in a ball in the fence, and it's got to be hard to control your emotions.
Well, it is. And, you know, these are high-strung guys that drive these race cars. Their adrenaline's right up to the very brim right now, and anything that goes on like that, they'll probably be laughing and talking about this next week. But right at that moment, he just showed a little temper tantrum, but that happens in racing. The thing that makes them win races makes them do stuff like that.
Well, it's understandable. Robert Presley coming back in. Here's Glenn.
Well, Mike, that may have been a blessing in disguise for Robert. He got involved in that spin. We saw him spin it and turn it around on pit road. But NASCAR allowed him a free 4-tire change because he did completely spin the car. He has 4 fresh Hoosiers on right now, and he has 4 more that he can put on under caution the rest of the day. So we've seen this in weeks past in Busch Grand National Racing. That may be a deciding factor in this race later on. There did not appear to be any more damage to the car.
Presley clearly had to spin to miss Hevron. NASCAR officials ruled that as the car spun to avoid contact and flat-spotted the tires, as Glenn pointed out, they could change those 4 flat-spotted tires without penalty and without it costing against their tire allotment of 4 that they could change during the race under a normal caution period if they had not had any trouble. So that certainly worked to Hermie Sadler's advantage to Rougemont, and may work to Presley's advantage here. Charlie Henderson's car, driven by Doug Hevron, goes off on the rollback, and we'll go off to commercial.
Exclusive coverage of the...
A little bit of sunshade or sun reflector for a day like today. Tommy Bowles made a pit stop there under the right side of his car. Still working on Johnny Benson on pit road. Also the right side is up on Robbie Crouch. And Rodney Combs coasted into the pit and had to be pushed in the rest of the way. The car shut off. Doug Hevron walked back to the pits, and Ralph was trying to get a word with him. And was headed along up pit road and stopped for consultation with his crew. Let's go down to Ralph. He's hooked up with Doug now.
Well, we got Doug here with us. Doug, give us your perspective of what happened.
It's Busch Country GTS, Mike Barnhart's car. We're just going along good, riding around, you know. They teach me patience in this game. They teach you patience, you know. And you got slower cars up front. You get by them nice and clean. Then he must have been brain dead or something, you know. It's just, the 56 just run into me and spun me out and put me in the fence, you know. It's just, I guess that's how they play, and you just, you know, everybody has their day.
Well, he'll have his days. He's a talented race driver, and he's got a good car.
Yeah.
Doug Hevron. And they're pushing Rodney Combs' car back behind the fence. Tough break for the West Virginia driver. There's a lot of folks from French's Mustard here today. He had really hoped to have a good finish in Richard Petty's car. But it appears they could not get him restarted, and they're going to push him behind the wall. Looking for green this time. At lap 65, there is Rodney Combs, French's Mustard Pontiac, going behind the wall. Back under green, Jim Bound stepping it out from Elton Sawyer. Randy LaJoy, Tim Fedowa, and the rookie driver, Dennis Setzer.
He may be called a rookie, but I tell you what, he's got 1,000,000 racing miles, and he's one of the smoothest race car drivers you'll ever see on a racetrack. Have you ever noticed how smooth the surface is? You never see a car bounce or anything. I guarantee you, whoever put the pavement on this thing really knew what they were doing, Mike.
It's a nice service. Of course, the Indy cars run here as well. There's your leader, Jim Bound. There's the black car of Setzer just ahead of Dave Rezendes, having a good run. And David Green has worked his way up into the top 6 or 7. We saw Dennis Setzer come to prominence in his own Ford at Charlotte in that Sportsman division. Had some wins and some really good runs.
Oh, he come very close to winning Rougemont also. He's just a very talented race car driver.
In his first full season on the Busch Tour, after just missing the Winston Racing Series National Crown in 1993. There's Setzer behind Tim Fedowa with 55. And Dave Rezendes. It's probably the best race Rezendes has had in a year or so in the Lipton 79. Battle for the lead. Elton Sawyer wants it. And the Brad Aikens and Bob Sutton, number 38.
See Randy trying a whole bunch of different ways, trying to find the faster way around the racetrack. He went in low the last corner, then he went in high. He's not gaining a whole bunch. I tell you, Jim Bound's doing a great job right at the moment.
Sawyer keeps looking on the bottom. looking underneath that Lysol Chevy, the Hensley racing machine. Oh, trouble. Oh, and the Johnny Cotton car is wadded up. It's dirty laundry now.
Yeah, there was one just went by the camera there that was in trouble a whole bunch, too.
69 laps complete. That's Ronald Cooper in the Johnny Cotton car. He appears to have the most damage. Now, Jason Keller's car looks like it came out of the same shop. That looks like something out of a horror film right there. There's Keller.
I imagine it drives just like it looks, too.
Yeah, I think you're right. Caution comes out for the 4th time today. This is starting to look a little like the Winston.
Well, yeah, it is, as a matter of fact.
Except these cars are only getting messed up on one side, like the whole front.
I believe if I had that much damage, though, I'd just stop right there and let the wrecker take me in. He's dragging off more, and they'll be able to replace in 2 weeks right there.
Well, Keller's going to come to pit lane.
And behind the wall went Ronald Cooper.
Can we fix it? Well, we'll find out when we come back. 69 laps complete here. Jim Bound leading, and the action unfolding behind him. We'll be right back. Couple of good cars. Ronald Cooper was involved with Jason Keller. Got into it with Robert Presley at the tail end of the incident there after Cooper had already crashed. Making pit stops as they clean it up. Dale Shaw, Elton Sawyer has been in. Ken Wallace from Pennsylvania has made a stop as well. I believe that's turns 2 and 3 where they're working. Let's show you what happened in this latest incident.
Well, you see the car spinning there. What happens right here with Robert Presley? He's backwards there. He probably backed off for the wreck in front of him there between Cooper's car and backed it in the wall, and along come another car and run right into the left front corner of him. He's got a lot of damage, Robert Presley has, but Ronald Cooper's car is KO'd.
Let's check with Glenn. He's in Robert Presley's pit.
Well, guys, the biggest part of the damage, the left front's bashed in pretty good, but I don't think it's done any real serious damage. The problem they got is the left rear fender, it's just darn near knocked off. Those things aren't welded on there all that securely anyway to help save weight. But the inside panel is down, and it's going to be dragging the tire once it gets back up to speed. So I think they may have to come in and try to cut that thing off. But when they do, then that messes up the filler neck on the gas tank. So they may have some serious problems.
Glenn, could you tell whether the brake ducts or anything were mashed in on that left front corner of Presley's car? That seems to be the problem today, is the brakes on the cars. If that's mashed flat, he'll have a lot of problems.
Buddy, it didn't appear to be because they weren't concerned at all with the left front. I'm going to ask David David, what is the serious problem with the car now?
The frame's bent down in the back. It looks like it's into the track bar. You know, it'll mess the handling up on it.
Okay, that is the problem. Then they're not concerned about brakes.
Thanks, Glenn. You see the damage to the nose of Jason Keller's car. He's going to be able to keep running, and the hacksaws at work there to dispose of that fender. Now, Ronald Cooper's car has gone to the garage. Ralph is there. Ralph?
Well, Mike, you can see how badly damaged the front end of his machine is. Ronald, you look okay. Give us your view of what happened out there.
Well, you know, that first time, me and Doug, I'd about give up all I could give on that front straightaway. And, you know, got me up in the wall a little bit. And probably got over to 3 and 4. Just got in there a little hard. Got into Doug. You know, it was all my fault. That last time over there when we spun, just somebody got in the rear of me. That's just racing, you know. You get some brakes, some you don't.
Unfortunately for Ronald Cooper, he also got a badly torn up front end.
Thanks, Ralph. The leader has come to pit road. Jeff Hensley and the rest of the Hubert Hensley crew working on Jim Bound's car. First time that Bound has led a Busch Grand National race.
Yeah, and in the lead right now is the 20 car of Randy LaJoy.
He inherits the lead. 4-tire stop for Bound, and that's all the tires he gets today under caution. .73 laps complete. Tim Fedewa in second. And let's show you how they were running just before the caution flag. Napa, We Keep America Running, brings you this update. Here's the way they were just before the caution. There's the rest of the top 10. Good run for Dave Resendes. David Green working his way back up through. And 8th, Brian Ross, the modified driver. Ronald Cooper was in 13th position at the time of the crash. And there's the rest of the top 20. And on back through the rest of the field. Wallace brothers running nose to tail. Kenny's drifted way back in the field. And Jason Keller, who was involved in the incident. Stevie Reeves is back on the racetrack now. And, of course, out of the race, several cars from Doug Hevron, Tommy Rosati involved in earlier incidents. 74 complete. Randy LaJoie has taken the lead after the pit stop by Jim Bound. Jason Keller back to pit road for a little more surgery on his front end of his car, and we'll be right back. The slept all the way up.
There's a pretty sign.
Yeah.
TNN Motorsport.
I like
and
that.
I seen one a while ago. We love you. We love you too.
Oh, look at that banner on the left. Mike McLaughlin's nickname is Magic Shoes. See the pair of shoes hanging from it?
Aha.
A pair of Simpsons there. Well, they're out enjoying the show. One fellow who's not enjoying the show is with Ralph.
Well, that would be Robert Presley. Tough day for you. What finally put you out?
Well, we got lucky. You know, first time we've been lucky all year. We spun out and got 4 new tires, and we still had 4 left, so didn't have to worry about gambling. And coming back up through there, somebody got in the Cooper car there and knocked him around. And we'd about stopped, and somebody back there come through there and knocked us around, bent the rear end up real bad. So we're going to save this car for Dover. Don't want to tear it up no more than it is.
Let's go now to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, the first thing, Ralph, that I want to make perfectly clear holding this B-52 Louisville Slugger here, I am not in Doug Hevron's pit. Now, Doug Hevron, he was a little mad a while ago. Nobody in the history of stock car racing has lost their temper more than me, just having a little fun. But I did find this Louisville Slugger in Robert Presley's pit. I got to asking a few questions. This is what when they crumple a fender down, they stick it up under the fender, around the tire, and roll it on. That helps to roll the sheet metal off of the tire to keep from cutting the tire. But for a minute there, I thought we'd taken the wrong turn and wound up at the ball field. Robert Presley was the most valuable player on the softball field one time. Maybe this is his trophy.
Could well be. Thanks, Glenn. Randy LaJoie leads this race. After the pit stops, he picks up the lead from Jim Bound. Tim Fido is second. In third, the 59 of Dennis Setzer. In fourth, Dave Resendes. In fifth, David Green. In sixth, Bobby Dotter. Next Saturday, or a week from Saturday, that is, TNN brings you live Busch Grand National Racing from the Monster Mile, Dover, Delaware. The GM Goodwrench Delco Battery 200. That'll be live at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Now, to bring the field down pit road, trying to run through some speedy dry down there, 26 cars are on the lead lap. This is the 4th race that Randy LaJoie has led. Daytona, Rockingham, New Hampshire, and Nazareth, all super speedways.
You know, Mike, we've talked about it a whole bunch of times. Randy LaJoie has got to win pretty soon. He's too talented. He runs too well every week not to win pretty soon.
He's done a good job, buddy, getting that car to the front.
Well, he's got a tremendous race team there, and I was teammate with him, and quite frankly, that race team right there is as good as anybody out there.
There's a look from the blimp as Ricky Craven brings the DuPont finishes Chevy back in. He runs his own race team this year, joined the ranks of driver owners. And if you noticed in last night's Winston Select, Bill Joyner of Unical pointed this out, the owner drivers in the race all did pretty well.
Yeah, you know, I was real proud of Darrell Walter Fair also. He made a run there near the end, and I thought he might pull it off. He come all the way up second and third place there, and I tell you, he's a very smooth customer. I thought he might pull that baby off, but I think he might have used his tires making that last-ditch move on everybody.
And the other fellow who did was Ricky Rudd, who owns his own race car. How many times did Ricky back out of a situation that could have destroyed the car? He came home with a good finish. And, of course, Jeff Bodine won the race. He is also an owner driver.
I tell you, when you start reaching for that leather in your back pocket back here and pulling them $100 bills out, you get a lot smarter.
A couple of races ago, we gave you the story of Kevin Meismer. His name is on the deck lid of Kenny Wallace's car. And a number of folks have called TNN asking for the number where they can call and be tested as a potential bone marrow donor. Kevin needs a bone marrow transplant. This is not a number for donations, but to call and check to see if you might be a compatible donor. Very rare matchup, but someone might be. Call 1-800-654-1247. That's a free call. And that's the National Bone Marrow Matchup Line. And they can give you information how to be tested and see if you might be a potential donor to help this young boy. Nice, worthwhile cause.
Absolutely. Well, here we go. You've seen him shift up in the third, now back in the high, going in the number 1 corner here. That car is really handling. Look how steady his hands are on the steering wheel there, Mike.
All right, out of turns 2 and 3. Let's take you for a lap around this place, because
Okay.
it is different.
I guess they call this the back straightaway. It's a long straightaway down through here into a very, very tight corner. This would be turn 4 or 5.
4 and 5.
4 and 5. And now you're going through a little, not a little, a whole lot of corner, and that's 6, and you come down the front straightaway again and sweep into this number 1 corner here.
A lap with Randy LaJoie, who leads this race. Tim Fedewa in second. Neither of them have been in for tires.
Fedewa is running very well today, though.
Maybe his best race yet. At New Hampshire, he was running in 6th when he lost the left front tire. Had to pit under green and lose a lap. Thought he had a top 5 car there. Tim's car owner, Diane DeWitt, has a birthday today.
You see Resendez moving up there, struggling to get in the 3rd spot. He didn't quite pull it off, but he's hooked up very well today, too. He's in 4th spot now. He's doing everything he can to take that 3rd spot away.
And you're riding with Bobby Dotter in the DeWalt Tools Chevy, DeWalt Tools Harbor Freight. And there is just ahead David Green. That's the Robbie Crouch limping down to pit road. There's that battle.
Yeah, that generally means there's quite a bit of problems with the car when you come in that close after a caution flag. He's just probably experiencing some troubles like a brake problem or either the engine or something like that.
Into turn 2 and out of 3 to the back straightaway. Four cautions already for 27 out of the 80 laps so far. That's why the average speed is way down.
See David Green's car there. He's run Resendez and everybody down there. That car is really hooked up. And when Bobby Labonte had that race car, I think it was probably one of the quickest cars down the straightaway. And I was kidding with Bobby's father, you know, up when we was at Loudon there. And they were on the pole and 3rd place and 11th. And I said, man, you guys are kind of hooked up. And he said, hey, we're serious about this stuff.
No doubt. Resendez has run here, I believe, in a modified and a Busch car at Nazareth. Well, they found the right setup. Here's David Green now trying to get around. They've caught Resendez and the 59 car. Dennis Setzer. Larry Pearson on pit road under green. Now let's fade back to that next pack. Mike Wallace moving to the inside.
There.
Yep, Kevin LePage, 71. And Kenny Wallace.
Yep, Kenny's steady in there. He's not making a run at the lead right now. I think his car's got a push right here. It seems to run fairly decent in the corner, but he don't come off well.
Randy Porter in 35. The Cincinnati Millicron car of Mike Laughlin at the head of that pack, the white car. LePage tries a move.
Boo.
No.
That's check and checkmate.
Now Mike Wallace wants the bottom on Porter. He has the room. Tracy Leslie's the next car ahead.
Well, that opened the door. They'll probably all 3 get by. Well, I don't know. I don't think Kenny will get by, but the other 2 cars made it pretty easy there. Once you make this position, it's better to give and take a little bit on this racetrack than to hook somebody.
Oh, Jim Bound has cut down a tire. Right front?
Right front. No, he's done more than that. He's collected the wall also.
Cut down a bit of the concrete. Well, he makes it down to the inside. Ooh.
Boy, he had a lot of race car here. I hate to see that happen to him.
Led the race. And he's going to limp it on in. We will stay green. Well, there's your strongest candidate for the Goodies Headache Award.
I say. Coming in the pits now. That's such a shame, you know. It looks like he might have had contact or something there and put him in the wall.
Larry Pearson completes a long pit stop under green and goes back on the racetrack in the Stanley Tools car. And Jim Bound's going to keep it out on the racetrack. Thought he might go to the garage and see what repairs they can make to what's left underneath the right front of that car.
I don't think he can't see the damage he has like we can. He could have went to the garage.
Glenn's there. Glenn?
I think you're right, buddy. He's got real serious damage. The right front tire looks to be, from my vantage point, looks to be knocked over about 8 to 10 inches. That's going to be something they're not going to be able to deal with on pit road. They are jacking the car up. They will go ahead and change the rear tire on the thing, but I don't even know if they can get the front tire off the thing right now. Crew Chief Jeff Hensley's looking up under it. I see a lot of smoke coming from it. I believe this problem may be terminal. He's calling the NASCAR official over there right now. I imagine they're going to have to take it behind the wall. We'll update you later.
I just seen a black flag Jason Keller. I think some of the parts from that earlier wreck beginning to drag the racetrack a little bit.
Larry Pearson back in the pits. Also, Jeff Neal has the right side up, and they're underneath his car. Looking at Tim Fedewa, the second-year driver from Holt, Michigan. And again, a car that needs a major sponsor. Race Scan and ProCal helping them out here.
I think Tim Fedewa might be just a little quicker than LaJoy. He can't get by him, but he has run up on him 3 or 4 times, dropped back and run back up several times there. That car is really hooked up well.
He's in second place, looking for his first top 5 finish of the season. Last year, he was the highest finishing rookie in the race, winding up 7th. We'll be right back. You're watching the pit stop on Randy LaJoy's car as we are under caution for the 5th time today. A piece of debris, a large piece of fender or quarter panel off one of the cars out in the racing groove has brought out the caution at lap 94. That completes the leader's stop. And there it is.
Boy, that would have made a big hole in a little old tire, wouldn't it?
Quite. Let's check with Glenn on pit stop.
Well, Mike, I'm in Tim Fedewa's pit. We were remarking about what a good run he had going, putting a lot of pressure on LaJoy there. He came by the entrance to pit road that time. The sign said closed. He went on by. Everybody else got to come in. So they're conferring with NASCAR. They're awfully upset here, rightfully so. If the pit sign said closed, everybody else came in. He didn't. This is really going to hurt him, going to put him way back in the pack. The good thing is he's got a really fast car. If he's patient, he may be able to get back to the front anyway. Fedewa got a really good run going today.
That would be a really tough break, Glenn. On the first lap of caution, once the pits are opened, only the cars that are on the lead lap can pit. Fedewa was the second-place car, and as he saw the pit sign, it said closed. So he gets his 4 tires for the day. That's all they're allowed to change under the caution without penalty, as did most of the other drivers. Now let's go check behind pit wall. Here's Ralph.
Mike, we've had some problems with brakes today, so we wanted to show you what a basic Busch Grand National brake system looks like. Here's your caliper with pads and the rotors. Now, normally what happens is air gets sucked through here, down inside here to try and cool the system down. As you can see, the top here is cut. Air is sucked out to help cool the system down. Now, if enough air is not getting out, what happens is the O-rings inside the caliper there, they're made of rubber, and they'll melt. When they melt, you don't get enough fluid circulating through the system, instant brake problem.
Now, we've seen that on a couple of cars today, Hermie Sadler's most notably. Nazareth Speedway, 1 mile, 5 corners. Looks a little like a small Daytona without the banking. But the start-finish line is in the middle of that short chute, not in the middle of the tri-oval, right at the center of that main grandstand.
Well, all the Wallaces have led the race today. Mike Wallace is leading now. He inherited the lead then. And his brother's right on his heels there in second place.
They'd already made their pit stops. In fact, Kenny Wallace will be joining you and me in the booth at Dover Downs, Delaware, Sunday, June 5th, the Budweiser 500.
Man, I look forward to that. What a character. We ought to have more fun on that than we're allowed to be.
He runs about 9,000 RPM all the time.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, I'm going to have to tune up for that broadcast.
The Gulf Oil Blimp providing pictures, aerial views of Nazareth Speedway today. Happy to have them involved, making its 1994 debut with CNN this afternoon. And there's the view of this racetrack. Where's Mario's house?
I don't have a clue.
Let's get a shot of that. Nazareth, PA, home to the famous racing family. Mario on his farewell tour this year. Son Michael, nephews John and Jeff, all in Indianapolis this month for the 500, and then John will run the 500 and go to Charlotte for the Coke 600 next Sunday.
Yeah, I think he's got about 4 minutes to make a flight, 4 minutes to get to the racetrack, and a long day of racing, believe me.
Larry Pearson has made several pit stops. The clutch will not release on the Mac Martin Stanley Tools 92. So there's Pearson going past pit road. Mike Wallace.
This is not a racetrack you'd want to be hung up in low gear to run on either. These guys are flying around this racetrack. Ooh, I hope he knows he's here.
Bobby Dotter inside of Mike McLaughlin.
Ooh.
Ooh.
It's a game inches, folks. You can see that.
Sometimes quarter inches.
Yes, indeed. Right on that left rear quarter and just on the right rear quarter, there's the only blind spot that you really have in a race car. And if the guy's up there and you don't see him and you cut across, it's pretty much done. And you turn them right around.
Happened a few times last night. Chad Little, number 23. 1,100 people from Sterling Drug, the parent of Bear Aspirin, here to watch Chad Little run today.
Well, they got a good guy there. I tell you, he's a tremendous race talent. I think he's just waiting on a chance to get in the Western Cup also.
Battle for second place, Elton Sawyer, Kenny Wallace. Elton's had a good run.
Elton's car is really working well. I think he's a little bit faster than Kenny right at the moment, but like you say, you have to be in that position to make it count.
That's second place. They'll head down toward turn number 3. Excuse me, 4 and 5.
Oh,
big
man.
trouble. Kevin LePage is the car that is stopped as everybody finds their way by. Caution is out. One car trailing a lot of smoke a little further down. Now that is at the midpoint of the back straightaway. Sixth caution of the day, lap 102. And there's the 7 car of Dale Shaw, and involved, Dennis Setzer was the car trailing all the smoke. Involved there with Kevin LePage. We'll be right back.
Exclusive coverage of the Meridian Advantage 200 on TNN is brought to you by AC Delco. It's like buying time.
Can we buy one of those telestrators? You know those things that John Madden used to diagram all the plays, who went where, who bounced off the wall, who got in front of who? I think we're going to need one, buddy.
I'd probably stick myself in the neck with it. I get so excited up there. I don't need anything that's hope.
Here's Glenn.
Well, Mike, Dennis Setzer has brought the 59 Alliance Chevrolet in. This thing looks like a 6-foot wide car that went through a 5-foot wide hole. It's got damage to both the right front and the left front fender. Primary damage is the right front fender. You can see them working on the car there. They have not changed the tires yet. They're just concerned about pulling that sheet metal off the tire. All that smoke we saw was coming from that right front tire where that fender was rubbing it. Let's go to Ralph.
Glenn, they've brought Kevin LePage's car in as well, and they're going to work on the right side of it. They've changed right side tires, and they're trying to pull the bodywork away and make sure that everything is okay underneath the bodywork on the right side of the car. They're taking a good look up underneath, making sure that those brake ducts are clear, and then they'll turn them back out.
All right, you're going to hate this, but they don't fix that car with sheet metal and duct tape. They use stuffing, a needle, and thread.
Uh-oh. No, you didn't say that, I know. You know, that's one thing, though. They just made a pit stop and got behind everybody. Track position on a racetrack like it is so important not to get back there with the lap cars.
Let's show you what happened. Oh, somebody checked up, and they got caught up.
Like Dennis Setzer might have got tapped in the back by LePage there, and this triggered the whole deal.
Looks like there was a bit of smoke ahead of them. Everybody had they kind of
here we
up
go.
in front of them?
See right here, they hit right here. Just touched him right there, turned him right around. The car in front of him checked up, and Setzer hit the brake.
Yeah.
I got them together. That's what happened.
Now, the yellow car, which I think was Bobby Dotter, got on the brakes for somebody loose in front of him, and it was just an accordion effect.
Yeah, just like on the freeway. If you're the 14th car in line, you can't miss them.
Yes, the last guy in, what happened? He says, I don't know. Ask those guys up front. They started it. Nice little breeze here at Nazareth, so the folks don't get too sunburned. Want to bet?
Want to bet.
It's a beautiful day out there. It's about 84 degrees right now. Couldn't be nicer, as they'll get green this time by. Here's your Stanley mid-race recap brought to you by Stanley Tools in New Britain, Connecticut, a 150-year-old company with tools to help improve the value of your most important asset, your home. 6 liters, 6 lead changes, the average speed. Not too fast because we've had 5 cautions for 33 laps. Make that now 6 caution flags. But we're back to green with Kenny Wallace up front. The 40 car of Dale Williams tail end of the lead lap, and Kenny Wallace is your race leader. Now, you saw a little earlier, Kenny, after making his pit stop, was running back in 24th, 25th position. And like you say, buddy, that's the other side of the track position deal. He'd already gotten his tires, and he didn't get up there and mix it up with all those fellas that he knew would have to come in and change tires.
Well, he's got a lot of pressure on him right now from Sawyer, but he's got a clear racetrack. Once he gets by this lap car here, and you talk about somebody that's going to go to work, he's going to have clear racetrack, and it'll take a real fast car to run him down.
Dale Williams may need a mirror adjustment. This is the second time he's been in front of the race leader.
I imagine there'll be a little passover flag when he comes by the front straightaway here. Woo, we got a few cars out of shape there getting off the corner.
Rush hour. Number 73, Brian Ross, in the middle of that skirmish. The modified driver. There's Chad Little down to the bottom. Underneath Martin Truex, the Blunt Seafood car picks up a spot. And right behind them, that's Bobby Dotter you're riding with.
Now, they call that the doggy cam. Why? Why do they call that the doggy
No, it's
cam?
the dog out the side window. You know how your dog rides in the car with his tongue hanging out the side window? This is the under the bumper cam.
Uh-huh.
I think they have another name for it,
Look
but I
at
forget
this.
what it is.
We have a battle for the lead right now. Elton Sawyer's got track position on him right now. I think he should make the pass going in the corner. Now, that's good, smart racing on Kenny Wallace's part.
Trouble in turn 1. One car around, had a little help. That is Mike Stefanik. Well, it gets going again. We're going to stay green, but that was a tense moment for the Sunoco Auto Palace car. Elton Sawyer leads Kenny Wallace as they come off turn number 4 and 5. Tommy Houston picked up the 3rd spot. We'll be right back.
Today on TNN.
Welcome back to Nazareth. 113 laps complete. Chad Little just became the first driver to make a green flag pit stop for 4 tires.
Yeah, that's not a very good.
Dirk Stevens, turn 1. Dirk Stevens is around, and Dale Williams is with him. Still no caution. They get going again. Now, that's the 3rd spin in 5 laps, and we have yet to see the caution. Stevens will get going. He had a good run going. He was on the lead lap, and Williams gets moving again as well.
We call that casual contact.
Yeah.
They have to go all the way around and get a little concrete on them to get a yellow flag here.
Mike Stefanik spun, we stayed green. Brian Ross spun, and now this 2-car spin, but we stay green. And this man, Elton Sawyer, out in front of this car, Kenny Wallace.
This is the best I've seen Sawyer's car run all year long. It looks like he has a definite advantage in the handling department right at the moment.
He's not run a lot of Busch racing in the recent seasons. The last time he led a race in 1991 at Martinsville, Virginia. Served as the chassis specialist for Bill Davis Racing for a season. Now he's back behind the wheel. Mike Wallace moves up past Tim Fedowa. Remember, Fedowa miscued on when the pit lane would be open when he was running second and ended up at the tail end of the lead lap cars. He's fighting his way back up through.
Mike Boston right in front of him there, in front of Fedowa.
There's Bobby Dotter right with Tracy Leslie.
Just out of Bobby Dotter's car. Tracy Leslie's car is just not quite as fast as he normally runs, but it looks like the car might have a little push up off the corner. You see him gaining spots there on him down the straightaway. When you pass on the outside like that, you have the car's not coming off the corner in a good clean line.
Saw Fedowa a minute ago. He worked his way back up to 8th place. This is the battle for 9th and 10th. And there's Tracy Leslie watching from Bobby Dotter's car. Leslie in 10th place.
Boy, I'm telling you, there's not a car here that don't have a little bit of damage. You see Daughter's car there, it's all pushed down in the nose. He's been up under somebody about to the rear end housing on him.
119 laps down. That's Bobby Dotter. He's running in ninth place about his strategy for running on this racetrack.
In the race, when there's tires running bumper to bumper, it doesn't become quite as crucial to get through the straightaway turn as much as it is getting off the other corners.
Coming up at lap 120. Still nearly 20 cars on the lead lap. Elton Sawyer, your leader, moving underneath the former National Modified champ. Mike Stefanik driving his own car. And Kenny Wallace now moving up.
Now that's just one corner where the lead car didn't get through good and clean, and Kenny Wallace reeled him in some 20 car lengths there. So that's how critical. When you get cut off a little bit going in the corner, getting back up to speed, you can lose a lot of track position.
Mike Wallace just took over 6th place from Mike McLaughlin. Car number 9 moving up to 6th. McLaughlin 7th. Tim Fedewa has caught that battle in 8th as they lap underneath Ken Wallace. Fedewa made the move on McLaughlin. Used the lap car as a pick. He goes up into 7th place at number 55.
Pick and roll. That's what you said the other day. I remember.
Trouble in 1, and it's Williamson. He got the leader. Williamson was in the way of Elton Sawyer, and the two got together. Caution is out. I say Williamson, excuse me, Dale Williams out of Sacramento.
He's had a rather exciting day, I'd say.
Elton Sawyer was lapping him. Williams came down and ended up T-boned on the front bumper of Sawyer's car and then into the fence. It is a very tough Busch debut for Dale Williams. 7th caution of the day. It comes out at lap 122. We'll be right back. Back live in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. 7th caution of the day, lap 124. No damage to leader Elton Sawyer's car. He came in and got 4 tires. There is Dale Williams, the car that went around. You see it said free agent on the side. We were trying to think of a good pun for that, and Glenn Jarrett had it.
Well, Mike, I imagine a lot of the guys in the field today with the problems he's had right in front of them and with them probably refer to him now as Agent Orange.
Folks, we don't mean to make fun of anybody, but
he has had a day.
Look at this. Okay, there he is in front of the leader. Ooh.
Nowhere to go.
Didn't see Elton coming.
No.
Oh, Elton did a good job to save that car.
I tell you, Ricky Craven did a pretty good job of getting turned under there, too.
Yep.
Okay, he's gone as far inside as he can go.
Right.
The 40 car comes over, and that's it.
If Elton had gone any more inside, he would have been Ernie Irvin. And way off in the grass. It just wasn't enough room. Here's Ralph.
I'm with Bob Sutton, who's in charge of Elton Sawyer's car. Bob, what did he say to you about the incident with the 40 car?
Well, you know, we were waiting on a caution. I just didn't want to be the caution. He said it wasn't no big deal, you know, just a lap car. Sometimes that happens. I'll tell you, this Ford Credit Red Car Police Thunderbird really done a good job today. Elton's doing a good job. The crew's really doing a good job. I just appreciate everybody's support. Goodyear tires are great today, and I'll tell you, I believe we can win this race.
Well, now, you got your 4 tires and your fuel. Was there any damage to the front of the car from the incident?
No, I changed the right front tire up there and took a look at it. Everything's fine. They pushed the fender a little bit. I pulled it out whenever I got ready to leave.
Okay, down in turn 1. There is a ripple strip of yellow concrete down to the inside, so it's not just the grass down there as you get into that area. You can feel that ripple strip pretty well, like the runoff on some of the super highways.
Mike, on the very inside there, you can see where the left front tire of Sawyer's car was down in the grass. It turned it a little lighter color there where he was trying to hold the car on the inside, but you just can't stay any lower than he was.
Now, I mentioned Ernie Irvin, and in all seriousness, a lot of comments folks have been talking this morning about last night. You take a fellow who has learned for 20 years to race to the flag and run hard and see if you can win the thing, and that's what Ernie was trying to do. And a lot of the comments this morning about Ernie were pretty positive about what he had to say after what happened. And there's a guy who's a champion caliber race driver.
I, for one, think he did a tremendous job. He was trying to win the race. He got a little high coming off the corner and tried to make a pass on the inside, got all 4 tires off in the grass, and he never blamed anybody for himself. And that's picked a whale of a man that explained to everybody it was his fault. He had a great race car, and I'm sure if he had to do it over again, he wouldn't do it, but he was trying to win the race.
And I agree. I would like to have seen what he might have had for just what I'm last lap. You never know. Ricky Craven is on the move. It's the second race that he's led this year. He's fifth in the point standing.
The other one, we know what happened. He won it. At Hickory, so.
Oh, it's, yes.
Yeah, so he's run well this year.
Yep, Ricky just in front of Chad Little.
I wonder if he knows Steve Hamilton. Every time I look at Ricky Craven, he looks, acts, talks, the whole works just like Steve Hamilton. Steve Hamilton was a great race car driver from this area years back. During the years of the lean cars and all at Talladega, once the Cup racing, he was good as anybody. Ricky Craven's going to be the same way. He's going to be a winner.
Craven from Newburgh, Maine. Hamilton was from Dedham, Massachusetts. He's up the road to Norwood Arena. Won the Daytona 500 in 1970 for the Petty. Now he's out of Atlanta.
He was quite a competitor.
Lives in Atlanta now. Ricky Craven leads this race after pit stop under the caution. Chad Little right up there.
He made a stop. Chad Little stopped a little while ago and lost some track position. The second place car right now is Randy LaJoy.
We're posting David Green up to third, Mike Wallace in fourth, Tim Fiedel in fifth. And Kevin LePage got a piece of the wall. He's going to make it around the pit road. Tommy Houston goes by. Dirk Stevens. Ooh, gets hung on the outside. Yep.
A lot of damage there, and you see the tire rubbing the fender a little bit. That's not too bad. If it was really rubbing hard, it'd be smoking all the way around. So he'll have to come in and have it fixed.
A long way around to get to the pit entrance, though, here at Nazareth. Ken Wallace goes by. Stevie Reeves, who was involved in an earlier crash, moves around. Craven's starting to step out a little bit of a lead now. There's Randy LaJoy in second, David Green in third.
I was just fixing to say David Green's moving in on LaJoy in a big hurry right now. He's going to have to get to go right.
And Mike Wallace in fourth, having a good drive here.
Tremendous car. That's a good race car. It's consistently good.
A look at David Green in the Slim Jim Chevy. And there's Mike Wallace just coming into the picture. Had a look on the outside. Let's check with Ralph.
Well, they brought Kevin LePage in to see what the damage was to the right side. They changed tires and sent him back out, Mike.
Thanks, Ralph. Things get a little racy here for second spot.
Boy, I tell you, it never fails in Busch Grand National. When you get near, I'd say three-quarters of the way through the race, then the muscles start showing. David Green's awfully strong, but so is Mike Wallace just behind there. You see him showing the nose up there. He's making him look in that mirror. Now he makes a pass on the inside. Now that's a power move.
Mike Wallace moves up to third. The FDP brakes car number 9. All that smoke there is, yep, Kevin LePage.
Finally coming in pit, and I'm glad to see that happen before he blows the right front tire and probably take somebody to the wall with him.
LePage was running in 10th spot. He was on the lead lap, and that car started to have trouble. There are 19 cars on the lead lap.
Mike Wallace is throwing that car around just like it's on a road course there. It must be handling quite well. He's getting a good run up off the corner. He seems to be able to tuck under. You see him trying to make a move there. But he's got the Bulldog in front of him, too.
Let's check with Ralph using Kevin LePage's pit.
Mike, they looked at the car and they realized they bent the tie rod just a little bit. Plus, they want to get the bodywork farther away from that right front tire. Probably not a whole lot they can do about the tie rod, but they will pull the bodywork off.
Mike Wallace, you see, has gone to second spot ahead of Randy LaJoy. Ricky Craven leads it. Mike Wallace is second. LaJoy is third. David Green is fourth. Tim Fiedel is fifth. Sixth is Mike McLaughlin. Seventh, Bobby Dotter. And we'll be back to Nazareth Speedway in Pennsylvania. 136 laps complete. Ricky Craven has a lead of 1.7 seconds here on the mile at Nazareth, Pennsylvania. There's your top 5. Mike Wallace in second, Randy LaJoy, David Green, and Tim Fiedel. DuPont finishes Chevrolet.
That's kind of like watching the minute hand on the watch. He runs every lap the same. I mean, that car is really hooked to the racetrack. He hadn't varied an inch from the bottom of the racetrack going into one. Everywhere around the racetrack, Craven's car is perfect.
David Green and Tim Speedway. That's the battle. That's for fourth place. Mike Wallace is in second. Randy LaJoie in third.
You know, talking about Speedway, it looks like the longer they run under a green flag stop, he seems to hook to the racetrack a little better and move up in a hurry here. I think he's got a good race car.
Just behind him, 34, is Mike McLaughlin. And the 38, Elton Sawyer. 08, Bobby Donner. That's fifth, 6th, and 7th. And ride with Donner.
Now, what was he? I'm trying to see what he was touching over there towards the middle of the race car. Looks like he didn't like that. Maybe some paper something flapping around getting his attention over there off that roll cage.
That's 5th, 6th, and 7th. Or actually 4th and 7th now as they've caught David Green. No, excuse me, that's Ken Wallace. They're laughing. And a bit of smoke out of Randy LaJoie's car is reported. Running in second, rather third place. Let's get out of Tim Speedway's pit. Here's Ralph.
There was Cliff Champion and crew chief. Cliff, how's this car running today?
Well, the car's been running pretty good up until they had that last caution. The one before that, we were running second. I don't know what happened. There was a pit worker on the backside over there. They held the red flag out. The pit road was closed, so we stayed out. Had to pit on the second lap. We had to work our way back up through traffic because of that, and during that, we got tapped on the left front fender. We've messed up the aerodynamics on the car. We don't have any downforce in the nose, and the car's pushing right now. It's too tight.
Well, now, Buddy Baker pointed out that the car's running better over a longer period. Is that true, and how come?
Yeah, the car has been running better. We've just been playing with some new combinations on the car with Tim, some spring combination stuff that he really likes. It seems to be working pretty good for us on the long run, but still, like the aerodynamics have got the car just a little too tight, and it gets worse right now.
In other words, yes, it's working better, and no, I'm not going to tell you why.
Well, he's running pretty decent. You can't see the push there. Just before he made that stop, he was one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, but you can see him coming off the corner way out wide on this racetrack.
Just behind him, there's Mike McLaughlin. And you're riding with Bobby Donner. That's 6th and 7th place.
Wow, there goes Donner on McLaughlin on the outside. That's the hard way around here.
Yes, it is. And Mike's not going to give it up without a fight.
No, absolutely not.
Good battle here. 6th place. And Donner finally makes the pass.
Can't get over how smooth this racetrack is. You've never seen the car bounce or anything. They just go through the corner like they're gliding. Kind of like the guys talked about Indianapolis. When they went up there to practice, they said they really didn't need any shocks on the springs on the car. Just shocks to keep it from flopping around. That's how smooth it was.
Here's Tommy Houston and Kenny Wallace. They're both showing on the lead lap, a little further back. I think, Buddy, will find any track where the Indy cars run has a pretty smooth surface. They have such limited suspension travel.
It has to be awful smooth.
Houston's moved up well. And Kenny Wallace coming back in action with Kevin LePage. He'll back out after that tire rub. And here's 4th place, Elton Sawyer.
Hey, that looked pretty easy once he got track position down underneath green there. He just went right on by. There's a lot of give and take here. These guys race against each other, and they know when they're out of shape and can't hold them up, and they just get on out of the way. He'll race him later if he can catch him.
And moving up his Speedway again. Now remember, he's had to come all the way from the back on the caution flag. They stopped a lap later than the other lead
where he's
car.
at on the racetrack there, Mike. That's that aerodynamic problem they're having with the left front corner. What that does is when you go in, the left front picking up, and it's running on the right front, and it's heating that right front tire up, making it smooth across the racetrack.
Sure. You can see the dent in the left front fender of Speedway's car. That's like having a little plow blade there, and all the air goes in there and just shoves the car out. There it goes. That's it. Instead of that air going up and over the car. Back up front, Ricky Craven is the race leader at lap 151. Mike Wallace, Randy LaJoy. Kelton Sawyer now up to 4th. David Green is the 5th place car. Let's get an update on Ricky Craven. Here's Glenn.
The guys, I'm in Ricky Craven's pits, and there are a lot of high-priced, high-tech, high-cost equipment that goes on a race car. But right now in his pits, the one that they're most concerned about is this gas can. He last stopped on lap 78. That's when they changed tires and put fuel in the car. They do not plan to come back in again. John Monson told me he thought they could make it. That's 122 laps, 122 miles on a tank of fuel. He says they're going to go the rest of the way. It's a big gamble.
Thanks, Glenn. We'll keep an eye on that. We're about to take you back to 8th place and show you Jeff Berry's car out of Norwich, Connecticut, the CAD Technical Institute Chevrolet, but that car has just gone behind the wall. Tough break for one of the Busch North campaigners who was having a great run here today. He's taking the car to the garage.
Yeah, he was still in the lead lap, but both ends were kind of gnawed up. It looked like he might have backed her straight in the wall. The back was all crumpled in on it.
Tough break for Berry. Hermie Sadler back out running after having that brake problem, trying to pile up some points way off the pace as far as laps are concerned. As they count down the laps in David Green's pit, we'll be right back. There's Mario's house. Looking over Nazareth, Pennsylvania. And here's the 1 mile oval, where the Busch and the modified cars are running a doubleheader here today. That modified race, the Featherlight 150, you'll see, I think it's June 19th on American Sports Cavalcade. A lot of folks here to see that as well.
Don't miss that. I promise you one thing. That's racing at its best.
Ricky Craven is being caught by Mike Wallace.
I'm really impressed with Mike Wallace. I hadn't seen him run this well this year, but I tell you what, when he gets to the corner, he is absolutely, it looks like Earnhardt going through the corner.
Here's your Napa Field standing update. Napa, we keep America running. Your front 5, little change there, but that Mike Wallace is really running down the leader. Laughlin's daughter on back through. These cars are all in the lead lap, though Dave Resendiz just made a pit stop. I think from about 8 heats on back, or the cars a lap down or more.
Would not be a problem to be a lap down, believe me. Not the way they've been spinning and knocking on each other today.
And most of those cars are out of the race. Randy LaJoy is coming down pit road. I'm not sure if the engine's running.
I would say he's pretty well had it there.
Of course, the speed limit in effect makes it a little hard to tell, but there was a good bit of smoke out of the car, and he's going to make the left turn to the garage. It's not running. He's climbing out.
Yep. Look at this. Look at this. We got about a 2-car length difference between first and second right now.
Now, did you when you were closing on the leader, did you run faster?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the best feeling in the world. And that car in the front, if he makes the pass on him, it's almost like, well, why even try? Run me down, pass me. But a good race car driver has the discipline to come back from that and say, listen, all he's got to do is slip one time and I'm back by him again. So the real good race car drivers have a lot of discipline. When they get passed by a car, they're watching in the mirror going.
About a car length apart. Larry Pearson comes back out of the garage and back into the race. This is the 7th annual event at Nazareth. Rick Mass won the first one. Bobby Hillin, Jimmy Hensley, Chuck Bound, Todd Bodine, and Robert Presley, the drivers that have been to victory lane. Only one of them, Presley, started today's race. Let's go down to Ralph Shaheen. He's with Randy LaJoy.
Well, a very frustrated Randy LaJoy as well. Randy, what happened to the car?
Something happened to the motor. We're having a good run in this Fina. Moroso, Kool-Aid, Bowling Hunter meat snacks, Northern Crystal Water, Bluebird Juice, and this car just run good. The first time I've been here, I got liking the track. The track's a fun place to drive, but something happened to the motor.
Battle for the lead. Lap car, Brian Ross. And Ricky Craven uses that to his advantage to keep Mike Wallace behind him for the moment, but here comes Wallace.
Boy, he was all the way up beside him, and they run up on the lap car, and Wallace smartly backed out just a little bit and give him racing room there. But he is flying through traffic right now.
A little bit of mirror driving here.
Well, it wasn't mirror driving. They just run up on that slower car. Mike Wallace had made the move. Ricky Craven's a pretty decent race car driver, but he just used his part of the racetrack. He's not going to pull over and let him go, I can guarantee you on that.
Nope. 33 to go. We'll come back and pick up this battle for the lead in just a moment. Stay with us. We left you, Mike, to put the pass on Ricky Craven for the lead, but now Craven, pulling up on Randy Porter here, has opened up this much of an advantage, but, oh, the lap cars are going to cost him right here.
Well, it's only fair that he gets a little bad break here, because that's exactly what happened to Mike Wallace. He had moved up and made one try at him side by side, run up behind the slow car, had to drop back. Then he really got a bad break in traffic and had to fall back about 15 car lengths, but he's now right back up on the back bumper.
And it's a battle for the lead again with 29 to go. Here comes Wallace on the outside. Not this time. 13 cars on the lead lap. Tracy Leslie is the last one of those. Here come the leaders, and Wallace wants the bottom.
Boy, oh boy, I tell you what, this is going to get exciting here.
That past Randy Porter.
We have a car in the wall.
Dirk Stevens.
Head on into the wall down here.
Caution. That was a hard hit. Lap 172. Dirk Stevens, who had such a great run in the early going here, gets in the wall. Now, you've used up your 4 tires you're allowed under caution. If you're Ricky Craven or Mike Wallace, do you pit or do you stay out?
Well, we got pit men down there. I bet you they can find out in a little while.
Does Craven have enough fuel? That's the other question.
That's the other thing, yeah. That's all we'll know in a moment, I'll guarantee you. So this time they take out all stops and go for it now.
You had a look at the Barry Owen pit for Mike Wallace, and here is Ricky Craven's pit. Let's go to pit road.
We're with Barry Owen, crew chief and car owner for Mike Wallace. All right, what do you do? Yellow flag? You need tires? You need gas?
No, we don't need a thing. We're going to stay out there. I think we've got him beat. All we got to do is run the green.
Well, how new are your tires?
We put them on about 120. I'm not sure when he gassed his tires. I know he's no better than we are. He's possibly worse shape than we are.
Glenn, let's go down to you.
Well, we're standing here with John Monson in Ricky Craven's pit, and John, your tires have got a lot of laps on them. Looks like the 9 car might be a little quicker right now. Can you hold him off?
Well, the tires are good. Our biggest concern is fuel, and I think we're going to take the chance to stay out. There's too many cars on the lead lap. We kind of made our bed. We'll have to lay in it. I think we're okay. He's got more. I think he's got more than he's showing. It's just we're conserving fuel, that's all.
He must have watched the Winston last night. Jeff go down and played a little possum, too.
That's it. Well, to answer those questions, there are now 12 cars on the lead lap, and Craven got fuel and tires at lap 78. So Wallace's are 50 laps newer. The NASCAR network, that's what we said last night.
Yes, indeed. Look at the people waving there.
And here is the remains of Dirk Stevens' car. As you watch from the Gulf Oil blimp, for the record, 197 feet long.
7 stories high. A big one. Second in the world in size.
Let's show you what happened to Dirk Stevens. There's the smoke.
Well, that's after a little bit after there, but he hit pretty hard the second lick in there, but it looked like he hit twice right on the nose.
Looked like he was by himself. Hard to tell.
Yeah, you see him moving around in the car there. That's always a good sign. There he comes. Wow. That's what we look for.
Make sure he's okay. What do you think he said for that car? So it was a good qualifying spot. Dirk Stevens started 3rd and had a good run going. He was 11th and on the lead lap. That will leave us 12 cars on the lead lap. We'll recap them for you when we come back to Nazareth right after this message. Here at Nazareth, Pennsylvania, Mike Joy with Buddy Baker, Glenn Jarrett, and Ralph Shaheen in the pits today. Next race here, The Kart IndyCar Bosch Spark Plug Grand Prix, September 18th and 19th. Kind of strange to have an IndyCar race just a few miles from where Dover Downs has a Winston Cup race the same weekend, but that's the way the schedule fell this year. And Kenny Wallace made 2 pit stops during that caution period. Glenn, what happened?
Like that caution came out at an opportune time. The pole sitter was about to go a lap down just as the caution came out. He picked up a real bad push in the car. They came in. They put some tape on the front air dam opening. They adjusted air pressure in the tires. They bent the rear spoiler down, and they also adjusted the rear track bar. They did about everything they could do to the car short of changing springs to try to get rid of that push, see if he can pick up some positions. There were only 12 cars on the lead lap anyway. The time he spent in the pits didn't hurt him. He was the last car on the lead lap.
Those cars are Ricky Craven, Mike Wallace, Elton Sawyer, Bobby Dotter in 4th, David Green in 5th, Mike McLaughlin in 6th, Tim Feeder was 7th, Tommy Houston's 8th. 9th is Martin Truex. In 10th, Dennis Setzer. 11th is Tracy Leslie, and 12th is Kenny Wallace. It'll be 20 laps to go when they get the green flag. He's going to ride on the restart with Bobby Dotter. Lead lap cars to the inside. Here we go.
They're going down in turn 1 there and heading towards the bridge there. You see the bridge? He's just going under that. Now there's a big corner there. Now they come down the back straightaway.
Ricky Craven got a big jump on Mike Wallace. Look at the difference. And then the lap car of Brian Ross, and now Elton Sawyer moves around Ross. And it's the gap back to Dotter. He's got to dispense with 2 lap cars before he can come up and challenge for 3rd.
We got Hermie Sadler backwards in the wall going in the middle of 6th up here.
Hermie Sadler against the fence. That'll bring out the caution for the 9th time today.
Underway.
You think all these guys watched the Winston last night?
Wow, I mean, that's a lot of damage on that race car. Look at the back of that car. Looks like an old gremlin.
Everybody makes it around. Sadler's car was up there in the wall in the shadow. Tough for the NASCAR officials to see. Then the radio call came in and the caution came out quickly. It's way down on the left side.
Usually when you have brake trouble, that's just the start of a lot of other things that'll go wrong. I mean, it's almost impossible to run a racetrack with flat corners without brakes, and I bet you that had something to do with it. Left front's flat where he got into the wall there. Left rear's flat.
Can't get the jack under it. Well, guys, you got 20 laps to go, and you're a bunch of laps down. Now, there's a neat little tool, a little quick jack to make room for the race jack.
Pretty smart idea.
They don't appear to be in a great hurry.
No.
It's been a tough day for the number 2 point man. Next lap will go racing. Going to change those left sides. And they're going to get Sadler back out there. He's taking his helmet off after that bounce to the wall. Later tonight, CNN brings you NHRA Today. Drag racing excitement at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And it looks like Hermie is done for the day. They'll restart this time.
I bet he don't get as big a jump on Mike Wallace as he did on the last restart. He'll be up on that steering wheel when he jumps on it this time.
Now they're the front 4 cars, actually all the lead lap cars, in the bottom lane.
David Pearson used to do me that way. He'd look at me 2 or 3 times on restart. He'd look over and wave at you, and when you waved, he'd take off.
The silver fox. Wallace didn't go.
Between Elton Sawyer and Wallace just then.
Mike Wallace either missed a gear or the car did not take off as Sawyer got in the back of him. And again, Craven gets some distance on the field.
Like much of an advantage. That's a good second and a half just on the takeoff there, and that may play the difference.
And with 16 laps to go, that could be all day. Let's see what happens here.
Well, I see a little smoke coming out. I think he might have missed a gear there.
And Martin Truex up on the outside. They have black flagged him for a jump on the restart. 15 to go. And Mike Wallace and Elton Sawyer begin the task of trying to run down Ricky Craven.
Well, right now, I think Mike Wallace has got more problems than trying to worry about Ricky Craven. He's got a car sitting there, Elton Sawyer, going on the inside now, trying to make that pass to second spot. And I tell you what, that car's been really fast all day. I think he'll make the move.
You saw the puff of smoke coming up through the gear on the restart. You think Wallace could have hurt the motor?
Well, I don't think he hurt the motor, but I'm sure that right now, getting caught on the outside like he did really is what cost him the position.
Elton Sawyer to second place. Mark Truex takes the stop-and-go penalty. That will take him off the lead lap. He had been the 10th place car. Leaders back to start-finish. Craven may just have built himself enough of a cushion here. Mike Wallace was really tough coming off the corner. I think he gets a piece of the wall here. Look at the replay.
He comes so close, I guarantee you one thing, he had to back out of the throttle just enough to let Elton Sawyer get that track position underneath him there.
There they are, second and third. Sawyer took great advantage of the opportunity. Craven, there's the separation from first on back, 13 laps to go.
If anything, Craven's stretching out just a little bit. You know, Sawyer's pit crew a while ago said if he gets back into position, they think he's got the car to beat. Well, if he has it, he better show it pretty quick.
The lead lap cars got caught well back on the restart from Tim Fedewa on back. They're a good distance back. After taking the win here. Fifth on back. Front pack goes back as far as Bobby Dotter. Craven back to the stripe. A little over a 1-second lead. 11 laps to go. Craven looking for his second victory. 1994. Let's go to Glenn behind pit wall.
And behind pit wall, Herbie Towner was walking back to the garage area. One of those days, just nothing went right.
Say, well, I thought we had a bad luck out of the way for a while, but don't look like we do. You know, we're working awful hard. We had a brake trouble first part of the race, and I was just out there trying to stay out of the way and finish the race. And after the restart, 35 car got into me, and I really didn't have a chance. But I'm sorry for our guys. That's one of our better race cars, and I hate to see we had to lose it. Not going for the lead or something, but it's depressing. But I guess I have to take another one and try to get him in Charlotte.
And he'll be back in Charlotte running strong. Better luck next week.
Sadler out of the race as tough luck continues. Elton Sawyer in second place has started 177 Busch Grand National races. It is the second longest winless streak among active drivers who have not yet won on this tour.
Elton Sawyer is definitely pulling down the distance between the two of them now. The real question is the two cars sitting there maybe conserving a little bit of fuel? They were concerned that he might run out of fuel. They weren't sure he had enough to go. Elton Sawyer is not worried about it.
Let's check with Ralph.
What's interesting, Mike, is that Elton obviously is feeling a lot more optimistic than his crew. Bob Sutton right now didn't seem to think Elton would be able to catch him and pass him. But Elton is definitely making up the distance.
I think hunger has a lot to do with it, Ralph. Sawyer has finished second in the Busch Series 5 times. He has never won. Craven looking for his 4th career victory.
Well, I don't know what's going on, but I can tell you this. Sawyer is definitely closing in. He's only 5 car lengths back. Just a few seconds ago, he was like 10 car lengths back. He's half a straightaway, 15 laps to go, so he's really moving in.
Chesapeake, Virginia drivers got 8 laps to figure out how to win his first Busch Series race.
Well, catching him is one thing. Getting by him's another. You know that. Ricky Craven does hardly ever make a mistake, so he'll have to position himself to get by him. Probably on the outside, I would say that he will not let him have the inside of the racetrack.
Sawyer is a car length, make it 2 lengths from catching Craven. Mike Wallace is 3rd. David Green is 4th.
This is the time in the race where he might have had one trickle of sweat running off his forehead. Now it's just like he had a water hose up there. He's looking in that mirror. He's watching the cars in front of him. He's going to use every advantage he can to keep Elton Sawyer behind him.
All right, do you look in the mirror now, or do you turn it down so you can't see it?
No, I would just forget about him. I'd worry about getting nice apex into the corner, picking up the throttle nice and smooth. Look at this crew, man. They're getting a little more enthusiastic about their chances of winning. Just like Elton said a while ago, he was pretty in.
This is everything, buddy. It's Chevy versus Ford. It's North versus South, Maine against Virginia.
North. Well, get out of here.
It is.
Been over.
Let's check with Glenn. 5 to go.
Well, guys, there is only 5 laps to go, or there are, but they are still concerned about fuel here. John Monson-McCreasy just had the gas man take the gas can. He's sitting on the wall with it right now. They don't know if they can make it or not. That's their only concern. He feels like that Ricky can hold him off on the racetrack, but the fuel is critical.
Elton Sawyer learned a lot as chassis man for Bobby Labonte, working with Bill Davis last season. When Brad Akins and Bob Sutton put this team together, Sawyer had a chance to get back in the seat. Couldn't wait to prove that he deserved a full-time spot on this tour. As he looks for win one, he's got 3 laps to try it.
Oh, man, I guarantee you Ricky Craven sitting there, he says, if this thing would skip one time, he'd probably mash the floorboard out of it, worrying about that gas mileage. I've run out of gas before on the white flag lap.
Back straightaway. Mike Wallace is third, David Green fourth, Mike McLaughlin is up to fifth. This is for the win. It'll be 2 laps to go.
Ooh, I'm telling you, look at this. Craven's beginning to stretch back out again. Maybe he says, if I build a big enough lead, if I run out, maybe I'll coast faster than he does back to the line.
It looks like Sawyer is faster into turn 2, but Craven is quickest off of turn 5.
Craven's just running his line right now. He forgot about the second place car. He could care less. If he don't hear a noise, he's going to run his line and not worry about where he's at.
White flag. They may catch Stevie Reeves on this final lap. They're in turn 1. Traffic will be a factor.
You see the crews there. They're beating the fist against their own hands. It's up to the drivers now. Ricky Craven's race to win or lose. Sawyer got a little bit wide there. He lost a little bit of track time.
Last chance for Elton Sawyer to turn 177. Defeats into victory number 1. Ricky Craven comes off the final corner and to the line. The Newburgh, Maine driver will win it. Craven picks up win number 4. 2 combinations, Busch North and South races in 1991 at Oxford, Maine and at New Hampshire International. Plus, earlier this season, he won on Easter Sunday at Hickory, North Carolina. And this very partisan crowd in Pennsylvania applauding Ricky Craven. Elton Sawyer coming up to give congratulations. Great race, great finish, and we'll talk to the winner after this. Career win number 4 for Ricky Craven comes on fumes. Ralph Shaheen's at Victory Lane.
Well, you had gas problems to worry about, and Mike Wallace and Elton Sawyer chasing after you. Tell me how you fought all this stuff off.
It was one thing after another. You know, those guys are great competitors, and they were having a heck of a day, and we needed some strategy, and my crew did an awesome job, and DuPont Automotive finished. Chevrolet ran great, and, you know, I had to conserve fuel. You know, growing up as a kid, I saw Darrell Waltrip winning so many races with his foot and his brain and conserving fuel, and I ran the last 80 laps like I was on ice at Newburgh, Maine. I mean, I was just so easy on the gas. And I'd run half throttle through the dog leg and half throttle through turn 1 and 2, and I'd have to be wide open on the backstretch, but I didn't use up any more fuel than I had to.
Well, how about that, Mike? Watching races on TV actually does pay off.
Great run for Ricky Craven today. The runner-up is with Glenn Jarrett.
And this is a satisfied man. Elton Sawyer, it's been a long road back, but boy, you sure proved your stuff today.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, I owe it to these guys. You know, we've had some good race cars this year. And, you know, a lot of times guys get in this position, they run second, they say that. But, you know, we had an awful good car at Hickory, and we just had some mechanical failure. That's no fault of theirs. It's just a new team, and it's going to take a little while to gel. But I'm just so proud of them. They've worked hard. You know, Red Carpet Lease has really stayed there behind us. Mike Kozel, A.J. Wagner, Edsel Ford. We got to turn this car back in. We got this one on a lease program right now. Maybe I'll let us have it for Charlotte. But I just like to say hi to my wife. She didn't get the opportunity to make it, and I'll be home tonight.
Well, Elton, they're proud of you. I'm proud of you. You did a heck of a job. But tell me, how did it feel to be in the chase again?
Well, I tell you, Glenn, I mean, you've been there before. You know how it feels. I mean, I could see the back of that 2 car, and I was going for everything I was worth. I was sideways in a sweeping turn, and I was really overdriving the car, but that's the only thing I knew to do at the time.
Well, he's looking forward to going to Charlotte next week. Great job today, Elton Sawyer. Wonderful second-place finish.
And his wife is race car driver Patty Moise. It's a real racy family there. Great job for him. And Ricky Craven wins it. Elton Sawyer second. Mike Wallace third. Fourth to David Green. Fifth was Mike McLaughlin. Good run for him. Sixth was Bobby Dotter. Seventh, Tim Pedua. Eighth, Kenny Wallace, the pole sitter. Ninth was Dennis Setzer. And 10th, the last car on the lead lap, was Tracy Leslie. From the blimp, you see the modifieds coming out for their 150-lap race. We'll tape that one for TNN. You'll see it as part of American Sports Cavalcade. And the car on the right side of your screen, number 42, is Tim Connolly, who was the surprise winner of this race last year. It was a wild one. Check your listings in June for the modified race on TNN. Let's go down to Ralph.
Well, we're with Mike Wallace. Mike, tell me what happened on that last restart.
Ralph, it just wouldn't go in third gear. I went from second to third, and it hung, and now we went straight to fourth gear to get it in something, and just back up the field and back myself. I've kind of screwed up any chance of getting with Ricky, and then I got trying to make it up off of 3. I got the car loose, and Elton had a run on me, and I tried to run him as far down the racetrack as we could. And anymore, I knew he wasn't going to lift, so we were going to crash, and it was better just to lift and try to race him down. But I congratulate Ricky and Elton, the whole crew, and I'd like to take a second. My crew, the Barry Owens-led crew, FCP Brakes, the guys did a great job. You know, this was a car we crashed in Loudon 2 weeks ago. It was destroyed, and they put it back together. Ed Barrier come up yesterday and helped qualify the car, and we went from 6th on the first lap to 40th, you know, and but the car was good, and the crew did a great job. FCP Brakes, Duron, the whole gang of them. Lindsay and Christy are at home watching us on TV, and we'll be home this evening.
Mike, you didn't even have any practice last in that car. Not a bad day.
Mike Wallace has had a long weekend, but came up pretty well for him.